In this video we will talk about processes in Linux. Whenever we run a command or program in Unix Linux, a new process is started. For example, when we give the command ls in bash, a new process is started for ls, whose task is to list the items in our current directory. This is because the operating system needs to know about the running program so it can manage them. This is done by creating a process for each program and giving it a unique number called process ID or PID for short. This number is then used by the operating system to reach this process uniquely. Possibly you know that we can see the running processes from programs such as Activity Monitor in Mac or Task Manager in Windows. We can also see this list in the command line using the command top. Let's try it. The top command shows us the currently running processes, their process IDs, and their resource usages such as the CPU or memory. This is a command that doesn't terminate by itself. It continues until you cut it. You can exit it by using the cut signal, which is Ctrl plus C. So, every time we run a command or program, we are initiating a process in our operating system. Until now, we have seen only one way of doing this in the command line, which is initiating a process in the foreground. By default, when you run a command, the process is run in the foreground. In this case, bash waits for the process to complete, prints its output in the screen, and only when the process is terminated, then the prompt symbol comes back to us and start waiting for new commands. This means the previous process is complete and bash is now ready to execute another command. In the case that the command is one that doesn't terminate by itself, such as top, then bash keeps on executing it. In such a case, we may need to terminate the process explicitly by giving the Ctrl plus C cut signal. When the foreground process is successfully terminated, bash goes back to displaying the prompt. Let's try this with the sleep command. Sleep causes the calling process to sleep for a specified number of seconds. If we call it from bash, like so, sleep 5, then bash is going to sleep for 5 seconds, and only when sleep is complete, then it's going to go back to displaying the prompt and waiting for new commands. The other way of initiating a process is to run it in the background. We can start a process in the background by adding an ampersand after the command, like so. You will notice that now bash has returned to us immediately without waiting for the sleep process to finish. Sleep is now running in the background. It also repeats us some information about this process, which are the background process ID that the bash gave, which is 1 here in square brackets, and the PID of this process, which has been given by the operating system next to it. If the background process ends at some point, the next time we give a command at bash or even just press enter, bash is going to show us the status of the background process as information, like so, that it has been completed. You can also switch a running process between being in the background and in the foreground. You can use the command FG, short for foreground, to bring a background process to the foreground. Let's try with sleep again. So I will start this long background process. I can bring it to the foreground using the foreground command and the number for the background process. Now you can see it has been brought to the foreground, and then the bash is waiting for it. We can also push a process to the background by using the Ctrl plus Z shortcut. Note also that Ctrl Z has the additional side effect of temporarily stopping the process from running in the CPU. But now we have received our prompt back. This is most useful if you are, for example, working in a text editor but temporarily want to reach the bash prompt. Say you want to execute a few commands and then you will want to go back to your editing, for example a script file, then this Ctrl Z can be quite handy. Let's try with Emacs. Say I'm editing file.txt, I write some stuff, and then I want to give a command in the bash. Then I can press Ctrl Z. I have stopped and push my Emacs process to the background now. I can give a command, and I can go back to my previously stopped process by pulling it to foreground again, and now I'm in the Emacs. Please note that using Ctrl+Z to push the processes to background doesn't kill them. If you keep in airy quotes existing your text editor using Ctrl+Z all the time, you will soon spawn a lot of processes in the background, and your system will start to falter due to lack of resources. So it is imperative that when you are done and want to close the editor for good, then you should exit properly using the Emacs shortcuts of Ctrl+X and then Ctrl+Close. If a program becomes unresponsive, we can kill it, which is the Unix jargon for terminating it from the command line. To kill a process, we first need to know its PID. We can quickly use the ps command, short for process, to quickly find the PID of a process. The command psaux shows us the PIDs of all running processes in the system, but it's a very long list. So we can limit our search to the processes that have a certain name, or for example that belong only to our own user. For this, we will use a specific construct called pipes. Now, please don't worry about the syntax yet. In the next weeks we will see this in detail. For now, please just copy these commands as is. For example, to search for processes that belong to your user, you can use the search pattern of your username using this pipe, which is a vertical line in your keyboard, and then with the command grep and username. This will going to limit the list to my own processes only. Or for example, I can search for the processes that have the name bash using the same pattern, a pipe again, and then grep bash, and this is going to give me this list. Let's inspect this list. The first item is actually this grep process that searches for this keyword, so we are going to disregard this. The second one is a background process that we don't need to worry for now, and this second item is the related bash, that is the actual bash program that I'm working in now. So once I have the PID of a process, assuming that I have the appropriate rights, I can kill this process using the kill command. Let's try to kill our bash process. Can you imagine what's going to happen? The command for killing the process is kill -9 and then the process ID for this process, which terminated our bash. So the command line has been closed. That was it for this video. Thank you for listening and see you in the next video.